that at any moment he could fall over, he could have a seizure, and that was our responsibility to protect him, because anything, I mean, you know, he's cracked his head open before, he's had stitches on his eyebrows.
Stop breathing.
Hello, welcome to the P2K Podcast. We're Prince of the Kings, a band of 3 brothers from outside of London. We're actually 4 brothers. Our eldest brother Luke isn't in the band. He has severe and complex epilepsy, and that's the reason we're doing today's podcast. So let's jump into it, yeah?
Yeah, let's go.
So this is our first ever podcast. How are we feeling, guys?
I'm excited. I'm really excited to get going, get some good conversation going, and just talk about it.
Yeah.
And I love podcasts. I absolutely love them. So it'd be good to make a podcast. I feel like we'll learn a lot about
exactly.
podcasts.
And what we really wanted it to be is a very natural, not really scripted conversation. We want it to be from the heart as 3 brothers, basically.
Just kind of natural, just having a conversation as we would normally.
So
and we just think that'll make it more authentic.
Exactly. We hope you enjoy, guys, and now we're going to jump straight into the questions. Thank you to everyone who sent in their questions. There were some great ones, and we all wrote up a massive list of them and tried to choose the best one, so that's quite hard. But we think we made a really good conversation for you today. Let's do this. As you already would have noticed, this whole conversation is based around our eldest brother, Luke. So who wants to give a bit of information about Luke? Who wants to tell the people?
Josh, do you want to go?
I can go. So Luke is, how old is Luke?
23 years old.
23.
Good start.
I always forget how old he is, because he's 6'4" for context. So he's been tall since he was about 10.
Yeah.
So he's 23. He's got complex epilepsy. He's an interesting case, the doctors say, which is something you don't really want to hear when diagnosing epilepsy. So he has loads of different types of seizures. Also got learning disabilities as well, alongside that. He's currently living in an independent living sort of space, so he's supported by
carers and stuff,
in a place in Essex, and he's absolutely loving it there. Obviously, because of COVID, we haven't seen him for a while.
Yeah, it's been ages.
I haven't had a big Luke hug in quite a while.
Yeah, so that's been hard, but that's basically Luke. As Josh was saying, he lives basically in supported living, so he does everything himself, but he's got a carer with him just in case he has seizures. And we'll get into more the sort of complexity of a seizure later on, but we'll jump into the first question now. So the first question comes in from Katie. Thank you for your question, Katie. She asked, what was it like growing up with Luke having epilepsy? Now, there's a lot to unpack here, right?
Definitely.
And maybe we just go from, as kids, what was it like? What was the environment like, you know?
It was very, our days were very unpredictable. So we'd sort of have, we'd look forward to going out, for example, and then Luke would have a seizure, and understandably that means he's physically wiped out for the day. So that's our plans, gone, which is very difficult because, when you're kids, you get really excited about, going to see the football
day trips and stuff.
Day trips or whatever else. And then not Luke's fault, obviously, but the epilepsy means that every now and then, our plans would be cancelled, which was hard to understand, especially for these two, because they were younger, obviously, than I was when Luke was here. But that's one thing I remember being quite difficult.
And then, I guess, as Zach, as the youngest, what was your sort of thoughts on it?
I mean, it's difficult because when you're younger, you especially when you're younger, you tend to have a lot of friends around, you have a lot of free time, like play dates and stuff. And when I would have friends around, it was sort of, obviously I was used to having to Luke having seizures, which is obviously which is quite uncommon for a kid like my age then.
Yeah, outside coming in.
So I was sort of just used to them, and sometimes the seizures can be quite they're not nice.
They're not nice to watch.
They can be quite violent.
I feel like it makes you grow up quite quick, doesn't it?
Yeah,
definitely. You see more of the world than you would if you hadn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Zach would have interacted with ambulance drivers and people who were helping Luke with seizures way before anyone else would have.
And I definitely get what you mean, Zach, in terms of when friends would come round and it's almost difficult to explain because
that
it looks like
weird,
something really, really bad's happening. But for us, if he's on the floor and he's twitching and stuff, I'm not saying it's it's casual, but it is a bit like,
you remain calm,
okay, it's done hundreds of times before because he has a seizure most days, right?
Of course, and I think it was just it was difficult for me to understand that other people didn't understand, because especially for
it's your norm,
younger,
isn't it?
Exactly.
It's normal for you.
For me, it was normal, but for them, it was quite upsetting to watch. Some friends would be really, really concerned. So I think that was kind of weird. And as Josh said, I remember being younger, and when the ambulance drivers would come, we would
chat to
them, and
that was a great time
in the car.
Not Luke having a seizure, great time.
No, the ambulance drivers.
The ambulance drivers. No, but also it's you definitely grow up quicker. Like I said, I remember I knew more about first aid and recovery positions and stuff than I'd ever did before I did first aid training. It was I remember doing first aid training at school, and I remember not realizing what I did at home was like first aid.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know all of this because I just do it anyway.
No,
at home.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think we'll unpack a lot later as well. But that's just the brief overview as growing up as brothers, and having Luke having epilepsy every day. So yeah.
Next question is a really, really interesting question. This is from Daisy. Thank you, Daisy. This question is, what did you find most challenging about being a young carer? And I suppose this is sort of similar to the last one, but maybe this question we go for more of individually, like the actual practical aspect of being a young carer.
Yeah.
What was the hardest part?
I feel like because I was at school with Luke, so for context, Luke's obviously older, a few years older than me, and then Finn and then Zach, obviously. So Luke was in year 11 when I was in year 7 or something like that. And the school were great with dealing with Luke's seizures and stuff, and they dealt with it for years. But I remember coming to secondary school and like if I saw Luke had a seizure or heard Luke had a seizure, I'd have to like go and help him, which was definitely difficult trying to balance like school, but also like looking after Luke and then looking after Luke at home. It was like a full-time caring job really, which was like I wouldn't change it for the world, but it was difficult for year 7 Josh to like be balancing all this kind of stuff.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
I think for me it was the unexpected nature of it. So it was just stuff like as you're walking down a road, you'd have to be on the left side. And so that Luke wasn't nearest the road just in case, killed over, fell over and had a seizure. And it's that always being
the
aware.
Luke sandwich on the stairs unexpected.
Yes, I mean,
that was such a throwback. The Luke sandwich.
On an escalator, or we still actually have to do it now when we go away. But we did this thing where, because obviously an escalator is kind of dangerous.
It's quite
especially
dangerous,
if you have a seizure. We have to like do it so we have one in front of Luke and one behind of Luke. And like so if he falls over, someone will be able to catch him.
We can catch him. Like a Luke sandwich.
Yeah, exactly. So we sort of laugh about it. But I mean, it's a real fear. I mean, he has had seizures on stairs and stuff, and yeah, I think kind of just the having to worry about what other people our age weren't worrying about, and sort of having to always be alert.
It's constant.
I also feel like your perspective is massively different. Like I feel like my friends are worrying about the football, like worrying about what they're gonna have for dinner, and I feel like our perspective is like our things we worry about. Our priorities have always been so different.
And what I'd say is, like, I think just sort of like summarising this question, the reality is, I think for all of us, as being young carers, as being young people, it was the fact that at any moment he could fall over, he could have a seizure, and that was our responsibility to protect him because anything. I mean, he's cracked his head open before. He's had stitches on his eyebrows.
Stopped breathing at points.
Seizures on top of mountains are always fun. He managed to have a seizure on top of a really tall mountain.
Supermarkets, Old Trafford.
Old Trafford. It's those situations where you feel helpless because on top of a mountain, there's no phone signal really. There's no one to help you, so it is quite scary. Always thinking like going to a place, being like we had to assess if it was epilepsy safe, whether that's gigs or football matches or like going to London for the day. We never used to travel abroad really that much.
No.
Luke never really went on a plane with us.
And I feel like it's something that I never really thought about much of. Like I didn't think about it much until like Luke sort of left home. Because it kind of just became, it was sort of just our life. But now you look back on it and think, oh, these are the things we couldn't do. These are the things we had to be on alert for. So I think it's sort of, as Josh was saying, about perspective.
Yeah, definitely.
Kyla asks, how and when did you know that Luke had epilepsy?
And that's a very interesting one because, I mean, in reality, we always knew. Because obviously Luke is older than us, we were born and raised knowing he had something different about him and knowing he had something that was not what everyone else had. It was a condition.
There wasn't a day where we had to be addressed by our parents being
he has epilepsy.
Luke's got epilepsy. Like we just dealt with seizures and whatever from as soon as we knew sort of how to.
So kind of simply we just grew up with it.
Yeah, we just grew up with it, just knowing he had it. And I think that often it feels like it's like a big diagnosis, or they find out. I mean, obviously for mum and dad, they found out. I'm not sure what the exact age was. I mean, I feel like it was maybe like 7, 8.
Yeah, he was. I was born, but I wasn't old enough to be aware of things like that, so I don't remember it at all. But I think Luke would have been like
7 or 8 when he was diagnosed, I think. So yeah, quite a young age.
He always had special needs. They always knew that, and that quite frankly, I don't think they cared about the diagnosis of the special needs. They just loved Luke for Luke. It wasn't like they wanted to know if he was autistic or anything like that. But yeah, the epilepsy sort of diagnosis came at a young age.
Yeah. So Carrie asked, what tips do you have for young carers that are struggling at home? And that's a really, really important question because I think a lot of our followers are actually young carers. I don't know if you've noticed that. but loads of them often like ask us for advice, and it actually came up quite a few times. So hopefully we can unpack a bit and just give you a few bits of advice.
Yeah, I feel like in the school setting, for me, what really helped was our school had like a young carers group. Well, I don't know if every school has it, but there'll probably be like social media pages or like group chats that are for young carers or like support websites. But yeah, I remember in year 7 or year 8, I joined the young carers thing, and basically it was like one lunchtime every week, and then you sort of made friends of other young carers, and that's how I met my best mate actually. Me and him both met at that, and we go on like day trips. So we go to like
Zoos and
to
stuff,
see the
wasn't it?
pantomime or to the zoo, because some of the young carers, I mean, we were quite lucky that we could do stuff, but some young carers just could, like, their parents, they were caring for their parents, they couldn't leave the house, they couldn't do whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was really cool to do that. So just find a support group. I know it's an easy thing to say, but they are out there definitely, and it's really helpful to
And I would say as well, it's sort of linking to that, but have someone who you can offload some of the stress onto in terms of just telling them what's going on in your life. If you bottle it up, and I mean, I know that I'm glad that I had like even just 1 or 2 friends to actually tell them what was going on, and even if they don't understand, like all of what you're saying, just actually saying it can really help, because if you hold in, all this, stress and all these sort of chores and responsibilities, then, it's going to wear on you.
Like, obviously, social media is a massive part of everyone's life. But I think that's definitely a tool you can use to connect with other people who are in the same position as you, and sort of just like talk about it and learn about it, and just connect with people.
Yeah, and if there are any young carers watching this, there probably are, sending a lot of love and strength to you. It's a very, very hard job. But you're doing amazing work, and I'm sure the person you're looking after is so grateful for you. So just keep it up.
And it's also about reaching out. Like, it's, as I said, on social media, or like counselling's really good. I had counselling when I was year 10 or year 11, and that was really helpful. Like just like verbalizing how you felt,
output,
and an output, exactly. And but also your output can be music. Like, we found that music's really great for us to be an output. Sport, art, writing, like all your talents that you have, like use it as a way of like expressing your emotions.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. So we have an excellent question here. A more positive question. What is the best part about being a young carer?
That is a really, really good question.
I feel like being a young carer for Luke is so easy, because he makes it so, like, he's so thankful and grateful, and is such like a great person. I feel like often it's not like the best thing isn't like a physical reward, do you know what I mean, like money or whatever, but it's like, it's just how you help them, like how you can make them happy, and like you get a lot back from being a young carer, I feel like.
And I think that as Josh said, getting a lot back is rewarding. Especially with Luke, he's such a positive person. He makes everyone around him feel so loved.
I feel like he cares for us sometimes,
Yeah, exactly.
Like he's the classic, like,
it goes both ways.
Like the way he says stuff, like the way he looks at life is so inspiring. He's like if something goes wrong, I don't know about you boys, but I'm a very like doomsday person. I'd be like, oh, it's all gone wrong, and Luke would be like, it's all fine, it's okay, and I'm like, actually, that's perspective I needed.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, I think what it is good at is that through talking to Luke and helping him understand things, obviously, in terms of his processing, in terms of his learning and stuff, he's a bit slower, I suppose, than his actual age. But I think talking to him and helping him understand questions or, concepts and stuff has definitely been, like, it's a useful skill, because it means we can communicate to people of all walks of life.
Yeah.
I know that I have friends who have, conditions and stuff like that, and I find it quite easy to communicate to them because I have Luke. And we all have Luke to talk to, and I think just in general, he gives so much back to us. He is like one of the best people in the world, and even through videos and photos and stuff, you can tell like he's got like such a positive.
It's hard to like explain what Luke's like. Like, I have a lot of like mates that haven't met him like because of lockdown or whatever. Yeah, and trying to explain what Luke is like. It's like 6'4" of like love. Like it's
like a gentle giant.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I think just actually having Luke in our lives makes all the worry and all the stress and all the upset worth it. Yeah.
So Elizabeth asks, what's our favourite memory as brothers? That's a really good question, because I feel like we've been quite lucky in that we've had, because of the band, we've managed to have lots of really cool memories as brothers, both with just us three and with Luke. For me, the best memory is when we did Michael McIntyre's big show. Yeah. So if you guys, most of our fans know this, but if you guys are new and have to listen to us for the first time, Michael McIntyre's big show is like a big primetime television show where we were basically the surprise stars of the show.
Unexpected
stars of the show. So we didn't know we were going to perform. And long story short, we ended up at the Palladium on stage without knowing we're going to be
Somehow.
Yeah.
there. And Luke was there, and we performed Luke's favourite song, and then Luke came up on stage, and he absolutely loved it. So that whole experience, and then watching it back when it actually came out on telly, and Luke saying was more famous than us.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite funny, but it was a great experience.
I mean, like Luke loves watching it back. Okay, so Josh has stolen that one. That's annoying.
Yeah, that's the obvious one.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
I'm gonna go for. Let's think. So we went on holiday to Disneyland Paris.
What a
and
throwback!
It was just an
Yeah.
amazing time. And Luke loves films. He loves like so many different films, like Toy Story, Lion King, like Cars, like all those sort of like classic Disney Pixar films. And so he was just in heaven for him. He was going on rides. He was meeting like Tigger and like all these different people.
I remember when he met Woody, and he was
so happy. And I think just he has such a vivid imagination. He loves art and stuff. And and being able to visualize all those characters and rides was just amazing. And we were there for what, three or 4 days.
That's mad. I forgot about that.
It's so good though.
It was around the time of the Olympics, wasn't it? I remember we all had our Olympic t-shirts.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was great. Yeah, Zach, what about you?
I think that one of my favorite memories for sure has to be going to see the Man United games with Luke.
Yes.
If you don't know, Luke is the biggest Man United fan you will ever.
He loves Man United. So do we, but he loves them.
Yeah, he lives and breathes it. It is like in his blood.
He knows the football calendar back to front.
Yeah, he will know. If you ask him, he will know the games for like the whole next 3 months. He knows exactly when they are.
He's got like selective knowledge. He knows so much about Man United. Like that's his topic of choice. They can name a whole starting 11. He can tell you the manager is, probably tell you the board is.
If he was going to do like a quiz, he'd do it on Man United.
Definitely.
And I think one of my favourite memories is going to see the games with him, because he is, out of all the 80,000 people there, I'm convinced he is the most passionate. He gets so excited about it.
Probably the most loud when he's singing.
Yeah,
he loves singing United songs.
So going to see the games with Luke, that has to be up there.
So that's the end of our first ever P2K podcast. Have we enjoyed it?
Well, to be fair, usually at our shows, if we went, that's the end, everyone would be like, so hopefully at home you guys are being like, no.
Oh, I enjoyed it, yeah.
I very much enjoyed it. Thank you guys for watching this.
And the great questions you sent in as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Sent in questions.
Fantastic questions. I think we all really, really enjoyed answering those questions and just being able to talk about it.
Yeah, and if you want to see more of these, obviously this one is especially for around Purple Day. Purple Day is the National Day of Epilepsy Awareness. Obviously Luke has epilepsy, as we've discussed, so that's why we're doing it this month in March. And also I think we might be doing more of these, so if you enjoy these, then comment down below saying what you'd want to see us talk about next.
Yeah, any questions
about
you
our
have.
music. I mean, we have so much stuff we want to talk about, and this is a great platform to do it. And it may be longer next time. I mean, if you want to hear more of us talking, I mean, we do like the sound of our own voices.
But so we are a little bit self-obsessed.
Yes. So let us know. Thank you for your questions, guys. Sending loads of love during this tough time. And catch you later.
See ya.
See ya.
My favourite band is Prince's Two Kings.
And do you want to say thank you to all the fans? Thank you.
Thank you.
Say bye.
Bye.